Okay, folks. Well, The Weeknd just dropped a brand new single with somebody named Galveston. How do you say that? Frankenstein? Gesaffelstein? I don't know how to pronounce his name. Basically, The Weeknd dropped a brand new single called Lost in the Fire, so I thought this would be a perfect opportunity for me to show you guys how I made the instrumental to this beat in about 2 hours and how you can do the same. Coming right up. Let's go. Yo, what is up, everybody? I am Legend, your favorite traveling musician right here on YouTube, and welcome to the second episode of Trackout Tuesday, the series where I break down popular songs and show you how I create them from scratch, the complete instrumentals. So today we're going to be doing this song by The Weeknd and Gesaffelstein, however you pronounce that name, called Lost in the Fire instrumental. But before we begin today's video, as always, I just want to ask everybody who's watching this video right now to scroll down and hit that like button as many times as you can. It'll help this video get in front of a lot more people. Also, if you are not already subscribed, be sure to subscribe, turn on the bell notification so you'll be notified every Trackout Tuesday I release a new breakdown and you won't miss a thing, guys. With that being said, let's get into this beat right here. Alright, so as I always do when I go into making a remake or an instrumental of any kind, I usually start with the melody, the main thing that's going to be the driving force behind the song, and in this case with Lost in the Fire, that is the synth. There's 4 different chords that plays throughout the entire thing. It's the same exact chord progression. It never changes. So I basically opened up the Massive VST, and I found a preset that sounded most like the one in the original song, and it's called Alpha State, and I went ahead and played those 4 chords out. It sounds a little bit something like this. Now, basically, once I got that all situated, for my own personal preference, I wanted to differentiate the verse from the chorus. So even though the chords are playing the exact same thing throughout the entire song, I wanted to create, even if it's just the slightest, tiniest bit of differences, I wanted to create a difference between those two. So I duplicated the alpha state to a second track. So it's 2 different alpha states. One I left normal, and the next one I added a low pass filter to it with the cutoff turned down just a little bit and the resonance turned up just a little bit. So it kind of gives it more of a muted sound for the verses, and then once the chorus comes in, that's the clean one with no low pass filter. So it's more in your face, more punchy, more of like a different, it's kind of like you're modulating into this new sound, especially when a song is very repetitive and it's got the same chord progression throughout the entire thing. I think it's important sometimes to have just something that changes something. The next thing that I wanted to go to was the bass. I had 2 different basses for this particular song. I got my tried and true, trusted Fallen Sign 1, which is actually acting as a bass once the chorus comes in. But then there's another bass that's not so much of a sub bass. It's kind of like a more synthy type distorted sounding bass. And this bass is called Cone Blower. It's also in Massive. I played that out by itself, and then it sounds a little bit something like this all on its own. Then we come to the next part that is very repetitive as well. This song, again, is all this stuff is like very repetitive. We come to the next part, which is the drums. Now, this is once again all 808s, very popular sounds that are widely used in today's music, but it has a couple of 606s in there as well. I wanted to start out with the kicks because I always start with the kicks pretty much, unless something else is like driving the beat. I got a kick 606 one and a kick 808 one, and I played those out. It sounds like this. So once I got the kick down, I wanted to go ahead and build the rest of the beat behind that. So the next easiest part was obviously the clap or the snare, however you want to refer to it in this particular song. This clap is called Clap 808 Fat Bloke 4. And that's just doing the, you know, it sounds like this once you add it onto the kick. Next up was the hi-hat. So we are going to start with the closed hi-hat. This is the next one that I came up with because it's what I heard next in my listening to it. It was like this. I found a 606 hi-hat called Closed HH 6062. It's closed hi-hat 6062. Played that in there and then add that to the snare and the kick and you get something that sounds like this. And then of course after that, there is a clear open hi-hat. Something I like to do in my drum programming when I make my own songs. I love those little open hi-hats. But I found that this is called Open HH606X. That's Open Hi-Hat 606X. And it sounds like this. And then very faintly in the background, you really have to pay attention to this song because it's got a lot of tiny intricate details. Again, like I always say, it's those details that are killer, that matter most. It's got some tiny congas, 808 congas. There's a high, a mid, and a low. So I found all three of those. And then I also found a clav 808 sound. And these are all playing in harmony with each other. So first we're gonna start with the clav 808. Basically I found that, and it's like this little thing that comes do da 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 da, a little clicky noise. Played that in with the rest of the instruments. It sounds like this. Then you got the high conga and the mid conga, which is called high conga 8081 and mid conga 808, I believe are the names. And then so the high is kind of playing along with that clav at the tail end of it. And then you have the mid conga that comes in just a little bit after to kind of fill in the open space of the programming of the drums. So it's not too missing anything in between the different, you know, sections of the loop. And that sounds a little bit something like this. Then as the song progresses, it goes into the lean, which is just before the chorus, or a progression of the verse, however you want to look at it. There is another closed hat that kind of comes in to, once again, differentiate parts of the verse to the lean to the chorus. It's kind of, you know, just adding in intricate changes to progress the beat. So there's a closed hat that comes in. That's called closed HH3. I basically found that. Plug that in as well, and then that is the next progression of the verse right before the chorus. But then the chorus comes in, and then this is where the beat changes again. So another differentiation, another intricate addition from the drums and the bass, because there will be a change in the bass. But basically, once the chorus comes in, this is when I use that massive synth that I was talking about, the fuller version, not the muted version. I change it to that so it sounds more full, and then the drums are doing the same. They come back in, they're doing the same thing that it was doing on the verse, but it also adds in my case, I layered the clap with another clap that gives it a little bit more fullness, a little bit more dynamics, and gives it that change, that necessary change that I think is needed to differentiate verse from chorus. And you know, because the chorus is like the climax of the, not the climax of the song, but it's like the little hills that you get to. So it's like you got the verse, then you got the lean, and then at the top of the hill you got the chorus, and you go back down to the verse, and you're cruising, you go back up to the building up, and back to the chorus. So it should be like a gradual build up to, once you get to the peak of that hill, that's the chorus. Come back down, do the verses. Visuals, guys. So that extra clap that I added was called clap 707X. Then the congas changed just a little bit, and it's like so all three of those that are playing. I'll show you how that sounds by themselves right here. So once you put that whole programming of the drums together for the chorus, you get something that sounds like this. Now let's compare that to how the drum programming sounds when the first verse first starts. You'll clearly notice that there is a lot of changes that have happened between the first verse and the chorus. So that's that gradual addition, gradual differentiation that you get once you're building up to the chorus and you reach that climax. And also the bass, the Fallen Sign 1 bass, because once the chorus hits, it has a really deep sub that comes in, you know, that bottom that's been missing throughout the entire song. But that sounds like this. And so in about 2 hours, I was able to basically create the Weeknd's and Gaston, what's the guy's name? Lost in the Fire, the instrumental, all from scratch in about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Yeah, it was really simple, really repetitive, but it's still a really good song. With that being said, I hope you guys did learn something from this video about production in Maschine, or production in any program that you are using to make beats, make remakes, whatever it may be. I just love doing these breakdowns for you guys because I like sharing my creative process and also sharing with you some tips and tricks that I use to kind of create the same sounds as some of the popular songs out there. So with that being said, guys, a quick shout out to another subscriber of mine who subscribed 3 months ago. Turn on the bell notifications. It's CJ, who left this comment right here. He subbed 3 months ago, and he wanted to see some 21 Pilots remakes. So first of all, big shout out to you, CJ. Thank you very much for being a legend, being a subscriber. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to be shouted out in the next video and have your comment and channel linked here, be sure to turn on the bell notifications, subscribe, and leave a comment on the next video, and I will randomly choose one of you. Now, CJ, I do plan on getting to your 21 Pilots instrumental. I just gotta, you know, I have to do what's trending first, because if I don't, then I'm gonna lose out on the views. I hope you understand, but maybe probably next week we'll see. As long as nobody else comes out with any other songs, then I'll try to get to this 21 Pilots. But thank you guys, everybody, for subscribing. Once again, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications. I'll shout one of you guys out. Thank you to my patrons on Patreon. If you guys want to join my Patreon, that'll be linked down below as well. Thank you for watching. As always, be legendary, stay legendary, and I'll see you this Thursday for Sound Architect, where I probably will be doing a Bird Box beat challenge. Oh, yes, it's happening. I totally missed.